Officer John Moynihan is recovering today after having been shot in the face Friday night on Humboldt Ave, and the shooter, Angelo West, was killed by police on the scene. In the aftermath, activists confronted police who worked to ensure that things didn't escalate, as they have in so many American cities following similar events. And we've now learned the police even went one unorthodox step further in an effort to keep peace in the community. Joining me now is the man leading the charge. He's Boston Police Commissioner William Evans. It's good to see you, Commissioner.
Good to see you.
How is Officer Moynihan?
He's doing well. You know, I've been down there several times talking to him. You know, at this point, you know, we're limiting the visitation because a lot of people want to see him, but he's doing well. I mean,
were you there when Joe Biden, when the Vice President visited?
Yeah, yeah.
What was that like?
It was sort of cool. You know, it was like all the nurses, everybody was in awe that the Vice President went there. But you know what? I'm glad he came. It showed the support for not only Officer Moynihan, but law enforcement in general, because it hasn't become, it's a tough job now, Jim. You know, the environment of policing because of what's happened in Ferguson and what's happened in New York. So, but the good news is he's doing well, and, you know, for what happened to him, being shot point blank in the face, it's amazing. It's almost a miracle that, you know, hopefully someday soon he'll be back on the job.
Okay, so your cops following the shooting of Officer Moynihan shot and killed a black guy, reminiscent of what's happened in a number of American cities. And then, as I said a second ago, you did something that is very unusual in an attempt to preempt what could have gotten out of control. What'd you do?
Well, we have great partners in the community, like Michael Coward, head of NAACP, Donnell Williams, Urban League, you know, Reverend Rivers, Reverend Scott, Doc Conway. You know, we were, you know, in contact with them, right, at almost all of them at the scene, just letting them know what we had and trying to walk them through. Because we've learned, you know, it's important to build all our community leaders and sort of all get the same message. We didn't want the city to sort of, you know, get the wrong message.
And you right away showed them a video of the shootings?
Well, the following morning.
Following morning,
we had them up in my conference room, and we walked them through exactly what happened.
Were you nervous about doing that at all? I mean,
No.
obviously you'd seen the thing and you knew that it buttressed your contentions about what happened and what didn't, but that's really an unusual.
Yeah.
Usually that's at the end of some investigation, not at the beginning.
But you know, I met with Dan Conley, and you know, I asked him what I wanted to do, and getting his okay, because ultimately he's in control of the investigation. And I think he understands the great relationships we have, especially with some of the leaders in the black community. And I thought that was the best thing. We got to be as transparent as possible, Jim.
That video came from what, a private business? Is that what it was?
Yes.
You and I have had many discussions, as you have had with others, about cameras, body cameras on cops. You're not crazy about them.
No, I'm not.
But if that video hadn't existed on that business, you know that you'd be having far more trouble than you're having now. So is that causing you to rethink your reluctance?
I think it is. I mean, I've never said I've sort of not been in favor of them.
No, I understand, but you're not crazy about them.
Right, but just because I think, you know, a lot of people think they're a quick fix. And my philosophy is, Jim, unless you work with the community, you gain their respect and trust, you can have all the cameras in the world, but you got to get at what's underlying the issue, and that's building relationships so the community trusts us. And a camera, just having a camera on, is not going to solve the world's problems.
Yeah, but just trust alone without a camera, and you might not be in the positive position you're in this situation. You know, speaking of risky situations, I want to show you Sunday morning at a press conference after you'd spoken about, obviously, Officer Moynihan. Here's what the commissioner had to say.
Obviously, my thoughts and prayer go out to the suspect's family because they lost a loved one who I'm sure is special to them. But, you know, it's a tough job, and our officers did what they had to do.
I'm sorry, I said Sunday and it was Saturday. You show empathy for the family of this lifelong criminal who shot your officer in the... Why'd you do that?
Well, again, being a dad, you know, and realizing, you know, having 3 children myself, you know, there's a lot of loved ones who are really going through a lot of grieving here. You know, he had a mother, he has a wife, he has a lot of people who care deeply about him, and he's a human being, Jim. And regardless of what happened, there's no winners here. My officers lose, and their family loses. So it's all about respect, and we want to pay our respect to their family because, you know, they're grieving right now.
How do your officers react to that when they hear their boss, you, at the same time that you obviously showed your primary concern is the safety and health of your officers, saying what you said? Are they okay with that, or do they?
They're okay, Jim, because the only reason we're out there doing this dangerous work every day and taking guns off the street is because we care about what happens, especially in those communities that deal with that daily violence. So we got a lot of feelings for everybody in the community, and that's why we do this dangerous work, and I got to commend my officers. So they understand that we deal with a lot of grieving families, whether white, black, Latino, and we show the ultimate respect for them.
Speaking of showing respect, I want to show you one more video, and I know you've seen this. This is Superintendent Gross confronting some protesters who I have to say, as I said last night, condescending, rude, foul-mouthed, uninformed. Despite all that, here's what the superintendent did.
Say no more. Say no more. Say no more. We're going to bring it. We're going to bring it. No, say no more. No, conversation over.
Get attorney.
You know I go to school. I'm no attorney.
Why are you being that disrespectful?
You said bring it, so I'm bringing it.
I said bring forth
No,
the
so we
complaint.
bringing it. So we bring it. Go back and shit pigs. Go back in the pig pen. Your life out of here.
How do you do that? I'm serious. I know you're trained, and I know you don't want to incite. How does Gross or Evan, how do you do that?
Well, I think we've learned. You know, if we kill people with kindness, Jim, then we take away, you know, what they want us to do.
But how hard is that? I mean,
very
you're humans
difficult.
in addition to, how hard is that?
It's we did it through Occupy, and it was a good strategy. We did it through all the protests on Ferguson. You know, again, we understand people have a right to protest, and we've trained our guys to respect that right and hold our cool. And I think Chief Gross is a fine example. And, you know, it wasn't just Chief Gross. There was a lot of officers there, and so I commend them.
What does Gross say to you after he gets, when he calls you on the phone or he sees you, what does he say about that incident?
Well, the truth be, we know the individual who was doing it. He's been out there screaming at our officers since Ferguson. And so, you know, it's frustrating for us because, you know, it's a difficult job. Policing has become so much difficult. And I worry with the warm weather coming, Jim, basically that, you know, we got to be on our toes, we got to be respectful. But I hope everyone watching what's happened over the day realizes how, you know, professional we are, how far we've come, and how important the community is, whether they're white, black, Latino. We're all in this together, and that's to make the city as safe as possible.
Commissioner Evans, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you,
really
Jim.
appreciate it. Good to see you.